The most common question that we get asked from most people getting into the reselling business is, how do I start a six-figure reselling business, or how do I replace my full-time income with reselling? Well, here's the thing, and here's the reality. The first $10,000 in net profit that you make is based on foundations and principles of running an overall successful reselling business. So in today's video, we're going to talk about those principles and those foundations so that you can make your first $10,000 in net profit in your reselling business and continue to stack that until you do replace your full-time income or even get to six figures.
Hi everyone, my name is Bethany.
And my name is Sean.
Together we are
Trash Pandas Thrift.
We are a six-figure reselling business, and here on this channel, we share with you all of our tips, tricks, and experiences, also that you can start and grow your very own reselling business too. So today, whether you're starting out and you just want to start your reselling business, or you want to grow, you want to make that first $10,000, and even if you have a growing reselling business, these are the same foundations that are going to take you stacking that $10,000 over and over again to any goal that you want to accomplish. This is a game plan that you need to hear.
And step number one for your game plan, or at least foundation number one. Yeah, foundation number one. These aren't steps, these are foundations. Foundation number one is consistency. And by consistency, we mean everything staying consistent. From your listing every day in the same amount every single day. We are eBay algorithm conspiracy theorists personally, so we believe that listing the same amount every single day really will impact your traffic and your sales. Sourcing, making sure you have a consistent sourcing schedule for yourself so that you're able to list the same amount every single day, and that you're able to get out there and source and shop for the high quality pieces that you need without being stressed or overwhelmed that you don't have it and it just causes a bunch of panic and issues in your business. Responding to messages, making sure that you're consistently responding to messages every single day because your customers are important. Your shipping schedule, ensuring that you're shipping your pieces out on a consistent schedule every single week. We personally used to ship on Monday, Wednesday, Friday because that was every 2 days throughout the 5 business days. And for us, that was a great schedule. It worked very well for us. That might be every day for you. It might be every 3 days for you. But making sure that you're staying consistent is a foundation across the board for your reselling business.
If you don't have number one, there is nothing to build on top of. You need that. If you don't have it right now, no matter what point you are at in your reselling business, we have taken steps back, literally, in order to move forward. And sometimes you need to make sure that initial layer is solid so that you can build on top of it. And to build on top of it, you're going to need foundation number 2, which is research and gaining knowledge. We went back and forth on whether to make number 1 consistency, whether to make number 1 research and gaining knowledge. And it's close because honestly, learning both what and how to source is going to be your biggest learning curve as a reseller. It's going to be tough at first, and that is to be expected. And in order to actually figure out what sells best and how, this is going to need time, effort. You need to learn not just what brands sell well, but what styles and what style aesthetics you can use to uplift the value of your items. And if you're looking at me and you're like, I don't know how to do that, I just started reselling, or maybe you've been reselling for a while and you feel like what you're doing isn't quite there. You feel like you're not quite on the pulse of what you should be sourcing. This is my experience and this is my research routine. I personally have a research routine that I do every single day. No matter what. It doesn't matter what stage you're at in your reselling business, whether you made your first dollar or you've already made 100,000. We are way past our first $10,000. This will carry you throughout your reselling career. You need to create your very own research routine. That's going to need to include researching trends. Sell-through rates are always changing. Researching sell-through rates of the items that you have been picking up, continuing to research those as well. Style aesthetics. You can use social media. You can use comps on eBay, on Poshmark. I love using fashion blogs and magazines to stay in the know. The main thing here is that you need to spend time. Absolutely spend that time researching comps, especially relying on what you can find in your area geographically so that you know what you can reliably sell over and over again. These are the questions that you need to ask yourself. What are the brands or styles that you find most in your area? Those are the brands and those are the styles that you should spend time researching on what sells best. As you grow, use your own store as your Bible. Repeat what works time and time again.
What works well for you is going to work well for you specifically, and maybe not anybody else. Or maybe what works well for you works well for everyone, and it can work for everyone else. The point is that you have to take the time to learn what's working well in your geographic region based on your store and the traffic that's being driven to your store on these platforms or wherever it is that you're selling, and the audience and the customers that you're cultivating to ensure that you continue to do the same thing consistently. Consistency over and over again, whether it's sourcing or selling or listing or the kinds of keywords and style aesthetics or brands that you're able to reliably continue to put onto your stores. So leading into number three, foundation number three, is treating your business like a business. Now, we've talked about this in other videos before, and I don't think either of us can overexpress the importance of treating your business like a business. Whether you're part-time, you're full-time, or you're only trying to make a couple of extra $100 a month, the more that you know and understand about your business finances, and all of the nuances within your business, the faster you will grow and the more money that you will make. And I think every one of us would want to make more money. At least I do. I'm all about the dollar bills, baby, all day long.
Oh my God.
So point being, you need to treat it like a business. And some things that you can do to keep that in mind is deciding what kind of business model you actually want to have. Our business model is going to be very different than a lot of other people's business model. We are a extremely low cost of goods to a very, very high volume business model. So we turn $1 into $12 to $15 over and over and over and over hundreds of times a week via Whatnot and via wholesale. Our wholesale is a little bit lower, sometimes between the $6.50 and $7.50 per piece mark, and then obviously we're selling these other pieces on Whatnot. So that is our business model over and over and over and over again. Some people have a higher cost of good business model, but a significantly higher average sales price business model. So maybe they'll spend $25 or $30, but their average sales price will be at the $100 or $150 mark. And that is also a great business model to do over and over and again, but not the same as a volume business model, right? Also, you might be somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of different ways to do this, and I think it's important that you decide on what you're going to do before you start getting into it. Or as you're growing, you'll kind of be able to figure out what works best for you based on what we said before, which is what is available to you as well.
Exactly. That means that you might be in that sweet spot of somewhere in the middle, because honestly, that's probably most common. That's where we were for the largest period of time in our business. For us personally, our business model was for a while turning one into $25 or $30 and not doing as much volume. And that's a really common business model that also works for a ton of people as well. You have options. The most important thing I did want to note here is that when you are first starting out, I think that we would both personally recommend keeping your cost of goods low as you experiment on what actually sells in your store, with the keyword there being experiment, right? It's going to take experimentation. You're going to fail. And that is okay. You're going to have some duds. You're going to take home some stuff that you might look at a year later and be like, what was I thinking? I have been there. I know for a fact that we all have been there. You want to give yourself room to fail. In order to do that, with those experimentation items, keep your costs low. Allow yourself to experiment.
On top of the experimenting and keeping costs low, I would also say keeping all of your costs in mind is going to be extremely important. Whether that's your cost of goods, that's the fuel it takes for you to get from point A to point B, that's the food that you're eating while you're going out, that's your taxes involved when it comes to running a business, and you have a different tax bracket when you're running a business because you have self-employment tax. Or if you want to open up an S Corp, that's a whole different thing as well, which you can talk to a CPA about. We are not CPAs, but these are all things that you want to keep in mind as well, because all of that will affect your net profit, and your net profit is what matters. You want to make sure that you're focusing on your actual net profit numbers. What goes into your bank account after everything is said and done. And the last and one of the most important things when it comes to reselling is making sure you have a solid inventory system, knowing where your pieces are before you put them there and where they're going to be, so that when it comes time to ship your items, you know exactly where they're going to be and everything is organized and has a place.
Yeah, having a schedule, having organizational systems are super important. I can speak from experience with that as well. Inventory system is probably number one, but also when do you take pictures? If you don't create a schedule yourself, are you the type of person that leaves it for a day when you have absolutely no pictures to list from? If you're like me, that means you need to make a day for yourself. You need to have your picture day. You need to have that set in stone for yourself. Do you want to take weekends off? That means you need to do extra listings during the week to build a draft bank. Build systems that work for you so that as you're climbing, as you're beginning to try to work towards this first $10,000, it doesn't feel like you're working towards this unachievable goal if you have steps and systems to bring you there. And that brings me to my last foundation, which is focus. And I already know this is going to be both of our, in our opinion, the most important one, because it is the river that drives through everything that you do. It's not number one, but it could compete in being number one for our video because focus is everything.
Focus, in my opinion, is probably number one because all those other things are important. But if you don't actually know where you're going and why, you'll never actually end up getting there. So it's the example of looking at a map of Chicago while driving around New York and trying to find Times Square. You'll never actually get where you want to go if you don't know where you want to go. How much do you want to make? In order to know how much you want to make, or in order to get to how much you want to make, you need to know how much you need to sell. How much you need to sell those items for, how many items you need to actually list, picture, source, all down the line comes from and roots and stems from how much do you want to make? What do you want your life to look like? Do you want to be working 5 days a week? Or are you okay with working 7 days a week but for less hours per day? Do you only want to work 3 days per week or 1 day per week? Are you going to go part-time or full-time? What is your vision? Because without a vision, it is very, very rare that you'll actually be able to achieve anything, except for maybe by stumbling through and achieving little milestones here and there. But we don't want to get you to a point where you're achieving milestones here and there. We want to get you to where you're consistently being a successful reseller and getting to and past that $10,000 mark.
I'm realizing as we continue to make this video that there is no one way, there is no one step-by-step guide we can give you to make your first $10,000. There's no one step-by-step guide you could purchase, you could even look for that tells you how to be a successful reseller because it matters so much by you. What is your vision of a successful reseller? If you don't want to make your first $10,000, what is that for you? You need to fill in the blank and then your game plan stems from you, right? It's completely personal to you and your business. And the only thing that you need in order to get there are these foundations. Everything else that you build on top of it, as long as you have these 4 foundations with focus being the one that kind of guides the ship, that is all you need. Everything else, you will get there. As long as you list every day, as long as you have the focus needed to list every day, as long as you have the focus needed to sit down every day and research what you should source, go out there and source it. If you have everything in mind, the focus is what is going to guide you to get there. That means you need to evaluate your goal. What is your goal? And after that, you need to constantly reassess it. Reassess your goals. Are you working towards it? Do you feel like you're getting there? And if you're not, reevaluate again. Do something differently. If you fell off the wagon, you stopped listing one day, get right back on it the next day, and you will keep chugging along to that first $10,000 and beyond.
With a strong enough why, you can persevere almost any how. You need to have the strong why and a clear direction of where you're headed to achieve your goals. And once you have that, I can promise you that you will take the necessary steps, whatever it takes, whether you can find the good brands or you can't, whether you can find the great style straight off the bat or you can't, whether you're frustrated with keywords and pictures or you're not. You will persevere anyhow with a strong enough why. So thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I hope that it was helpful for you. I cannot wait to hear, whether it's a month from now or 6 months from now, how many of you start to make your first $10,000 in net profit from watching videos like this. And we appreciate you guys very much.
If you like this kind of content, make sure to subscribe down below and we will see you in the next one. Thanks so much, you guys. Bye.
Thanks for watching.